Mark, I like that color in your background. Very nice color in that room.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. So we are live on YouTube. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is John Scavelli. I'm the law director for the city of Worcester. If you are tuning in on YouTube to watch us, thank you very much. We appreciate you being here. We want to make sure that we still have the ability, even though we're on a Zoom meeting, to have public interaction. And so to facilitate that while you're watching on YouTube, on the right-hand side or below, you'll have the ability to comment. You will need to sign in with a Google account to YouTube or a YouTube account in order to do that. But we encourage you, if you have questions, comments, or concerns, to go ahead and type those in. If you are having trouble, please go ahead. You can also email me at jscavelli@worcesterOH.com. I will be checking that, and if I hear of any trouble, I will go ahead and address that. Just be aware that normally how City Council operates is that we only listen to comments that are specifically on something in front of us for the agenda this evening. Any other issues before we start? Anybody? All right, then I'm going to turn it over to, yes.
John, tell them where they can find the agenda.
Oh, well, they can find the agenda on the city's website. I don't know the exact address though. Lynn, do you know off the top of your head?
What the hell?
Yes, yes, at Wooster OH. Yes, Wooster OH City Council.
Okay. Very good. All right. Well, then I will turn it over to Mr. Beitendijk, and we can start the meeting.
Good evening and welcome to the meeting scheduled for this Monday, April 20, 2020. I was going to say the regular meeting, and even though it is scheduled for tonight, is nothing but regular, as this is a video conferencing and YouTube meeting as we enter a brave new world during what I call the microbial zombie apocalypse, which has descended upon us. Well, according to my watch, it is after 7:30 p.m. The next meeting will be Monday, May 4th, 2020. At this point in time, Mr. Paulo, as clerk of council, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Ansel,
Here.
Mr. Bostancic,
Here.
Mr. Cavan,
Here.
Mr. Myers,
Here.
Mr. Sanders,
Here.
Mr. Silvestri,
Here.
Ms. Warden.
Well, everyone's present, and that means we have a quorum. The agenda will remain as presented. And my landlord, Dave Tadero, was nice enough to let me borrow his flag. So I'm going to ask you all to stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. I'm trying to keep this as close to as normal as abnormal as this meeting is. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag
of the United States
of America.
And to
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and
justice
for all.
for all.
Thank you, one and all.
We couldn't tell if everybody had on dress pants or not.
Or pants.
Or pants.
Yeah, we'll want a recording of that one. That's going to remain in the annals of the Worcester City Council. Okay, our first item of business after we've gotten through the introductions here is the approval of minutes from March 16th, 2020. That seems like a lifetime ago. Anyone want to move to approve the March 16, 2020 minutes?
Scott Myers moves to approve the minutes.
All right, Scott
Second.
Myers, Mr. Myers has moved to approve the March 16, 2020 minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ansel.
Silvestri.
It was
What?
Mr. Silvestri.
Right
All
here.
right. Yeah, make
Sylvester.
sure you state your name first before you make the motion if you're not the one presenting the legislation, because it's really hard to tell who's speaking.
Okay.
So we have a second by Mr. Silvestri to approve
Yes.
the minutes of March 16. All in favor, please say aye.
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 And anyone opposed, say nay. Seeing none, we will have approved the minutes of March 16, 2020. Now we turn our attention to communications from the mayor. Welcome, Mayor. It's been a while. Like I said, March 16th seems like a lifetime ago. Certainly was a different world back then. So we're looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
All right. Thank you, President Biden and council members. Great to see everybody tonight. And thanks for participating in this new world of communication. So just want to bring you up to speed on a few things since the last time we were together. As President Biden has said, the world has truly changed for us. So it's been very busy for us here at City Hall, just trying to assimilate to the new normal. But things truly have gone fairly well. In fact, better than in some cases than we had anticipated. As of today, the COVID-19 status in our community, I'll start with the Wayne County Health Department. They say that there are 81 confirmed Wayne County cases of the virus, 15 hospitalizations, and 14 deaths. Statewide, there are almost 13,000 cases of the virus in all but one Ohio county, and I'm not sure what county that is. It's not had any cases. Locally, here at Wooster Community Hospital, we've had no new COVID patients since last week. So that's a great thing to be able to tell you and to report. We've seen less than a dozen hospitalizations for the virus at our hospital. The surge projections showed that mid-April was our peak time. So we hope that is the case. And so far it is acting like it has definitely flattened in our area. In fact, I think it's going so well in the state that the governor has announced that he may allow hospitals to start working back towards normal operations, because that is one thing that we haven't had for numerous weeks now. And it is definitely impacting the financial health of our hospital. But as I say, I'm pleased to report that it looks like the virus may be at least level at this point, and hopefully will not get any stronger. One other thing that's been suggested and we've been working on is for the homeless population, which we really don't have a huge number that is outwardly visible, but quite a few in areas that are unseen, I guess. But there's a group from the interfaith team that is concerned that there are no restrooms for homeless people to use because all of the businesses and restaurants are closed down and there's just no facilities available. So we've been working with our housing coalition subcommittee on the homeless and are looking into possible ways to maybe place a few porta pots in the downtown area to help with that concern. So we've had a very good relationship with the Housing Coalition and the homelessness subcommittee. So I feel we'll have an answer here in the next few days. On your council agendas tonight, you have ordinance 2020-10, which is an tax incentive for certified Angus beef to construct a 18,000 square foot 750,000 plus new print and warehouse facility. So this is great news that, for our community, that one of our great corporate entities here in town is wanting to go and grow in this day and age. So that is been something that went through Wooster Growth and has been incentivized to bring to City Council with their approval. So hopefully Council will see fit to approve that easy tax abatement this evening. Something that just came in today's mail is, or actually announced online, is that Gojo and Lubrizol, which is the thickening agent in Purell, are donating 16,000 liters or 65,000 bottles of Purell to Wayne, Summit, and Cuyahoga County Hospital. That's where they have operations, and they want to support the workers and the team that have made that possible. So very kind and great contribution by Gojo Corporation, and thanks for that. Building Standards has actually just finished a first quarter report, and again, good news. Last year in the first quarter, we had 322 total building permits for that. This year, we have 321, so just down one permit. And so thinking that the end of the first quarter sort of fell apart in mid-March, that's pretty good news. So we're looking for a really a fairly decent year looking at this point. There's folks out there that want to do some starts. And the final thing I'll mention to you is we have been busy through our engineering division that we are doing paving that council had approved with our budget. Quimby Avenue has been milled down and actually had the first course on it. Milltown between Cleveland and Melrose has been milled down and will be paved. If the weather will stay dry enough for us to be able to do that. Highland Avenue between Tatum and Cleveland Road, and North Street from the fairgrounds to Bell are all being paved here within the next few weeks. So we're still moving forward with all of those projects, and we've gotten some really good pricing on all of them, and so everything is not doom and gloom out there. We do have some really good things happening in our city also. So, and I just wanted to end on those positive notes. And with that, I will turn it back over to you, President Beindijk.
Mike, you're on mute. Mike, you're on mute. There we go. We still can't hear you. I think we got you, maybe. Let's see. Mike, we don't currently hear you. So can you hear me if you raise your hand? Okay. So we can't hear you. You were on mute. Why don't you go ahead and do what you just did? Why don't you put yourself on mute again and take it off and see what happens for us, okay? Okay, take it off and let's see what happens. Okay, talk for me. All right, everyone, I'm going to take this moment since we have a little bit of a break here. We do have 19 viewers on YouTube right now, and I want to thank everyone for watching. Like I said at the beginning, and some of you may not have been on for that, we do want to have public interaction. So if you are on right now and watching and you are signed in to YouTube through a Google account, please go ahead and do that. And if you just want to give a shout out and let us know you're out there, we'd love to hear from you. Just to know we've got people listening, and hopefully we'll go turn this back over to President Beindijk.
Well, I switched to a new microphone. Can you hear me?
Excellent. Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, anyone want to buy a Surface computer here? it picked a great time to reboot itself. So now I'm on my regular computer, which always nice to have redundant systems.
Well, all right. So we should be ready to start the meeting in earnest, President Biden. So whenever you're ready.
Well, I don't think we have any petitions from petitions tonight. Do we have anyone who'd like to, from the public, would like to speak on an agenda item?
Have not heard from anyone so far, but maybe as it comes up, we do. Like I said, we have 20 people watching now. I did ask them to sign in and let me know. So maybe
Okay.
they'll let me know as we go by agenda.
Yeah, we can maybe circle back. And I know Mr. Reynolds is here, but he's here to represent some of the landowners who are petitioning the annex. And I figured he'll speak when those pieces of legislation show up, unless he tells me otherwise. So, seeing that at the moment we have no real committee reports or public hearings or unfinished business, we're just going to roll right into new business, which will be the first reading of resolution number 2020-21. It'll be presented by Mr. Silvestri. It is budgeted, hence no need to suspend the rules, but we do need Mr. Paulo to please read the title.
Resolution number 2020-21. A resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to advertise according to law and enter into a contract with the lowest and best bidder for the rehabilitation of the corrugated metal culverts under the Dix Expressway and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Silvestri, I was going to say the floor is yours, but that would be apropos. I guess the airwaves are yours there, sir.
And I'll take the screen as well. Thank you. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So a couple of small corrections on the title of this resolution. It was determined that they weren't severe enough to resend out, but it actually is a corrugated metal culvert singular under the Dix Expressway. So the first whereas, it is one corrugated metal culvert, and that should be singular. In section 1, under the after the now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Wooster, Ohio, it is correct to state at the end of that, in the last sentence, the corrugated metal culvert. So as a point of reference, this is near where the Route 3 goes, the Dix Expressway goes past the Days Inn area there. That's the hotel whose sign sticks up above the highway. So we have a metal culvert that is ready to fail. And after speaking with our Director of Engineering, one of the ways in which we can take care of this problem is through resurfacing. So what we can do is I think it's a fraction of the cost. It would cost about 5 times as much or more if we were to replace the culvert, but it is a 48-inch culvert. There were 2 X's there where the diameter was. So it's 48 inches. And we hope that with authorizing a contractor to come in and spray cement to line that pipe, and typically they keep it at about 1.5 inches lining. And that should last us another 50 years or so. So I think it's a great option. The money is coming out of the storm sewer fund. And as President Biden said, the amount is budgeted, so there's no need to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings. We can just move for adoption on the first reading. So with that, before I open it for discussion, President Biden, I move for adoption.
All right, a motion to adopt by Mr. Silvestri. Is there a second?
This is Bill.
Second.
All right. Well, I heard Bill state his name first. So Bill Bostancic, Mr. Bostancic seconded the motion to adopt. Now, open it up for discussion. And I will point out that other than Warden and Silvestri, I'm not sure many of us will be around in 50 years when it fails.
I'm just curious, this is Bill. How long is that culvert?
194 feet long.
Thank you.
Yes.
And this is Jen. I have a quick question. Will this result in any lane closures along the Dix, and if so, for how long?
I don't
No, it
believe
will
it
not.
will. Roger, go ahead.
Okay, this is Roger. No lane closures. That's why we're lining it.
So no interruption of traffic whatsoever.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Yeah, anything else? Hearing none, I would ask Mr. Paulo to please call the roll on the motion to adopt.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Stanzik.
Yes.
All right, resolution number 2020-21 passes. Looking now to resolution number 2020-22. Again, it'll be presented by Mr. Silvestri, and once again, it is budgeted. Before I get back to you, Mr. Silvestri, I'll ask Ms. DiPaolo if she would again read the resolution.
Resolution number 2020-22. A resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to advertise according to law and enter into a contract with the lowest and best bidder for the replacement of the water line on Holmes Boulevard and Caldwell Drive and declaring an emergency.
Okay, and just as a bit of disclosure, since hopefully there won't be a tie vote, is this impacts my mother's property in terms that they need the city needs an easement. So I'll just let everyone know that it's my mother's properties involved, or whatever difference that makes. But Mr. Silvestri, I turn the airways back over to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. So what we have before us, and I'll read from the description for the sake of those watching. If this is the replacement of approximately 2,650 linear feet of 6-inch cast iron water line. There's been a history of breaks on this segment of line. So we're going to not just replace the pipe, but we're going to upgrade it in size slightly to an 8-inch pipe, and it's going to be ductile iron instead of cast iron. So better quality, a little bit better, a little bit bigger size. We're replacing 20 water services along this line and also 5 fire hydrants. And I want to thank Roger for performing all of the engineering design, construction, admin, and inspection, and for having his staff perform that to save the city taxpayers money. As a point of reference, if some of you aren't familiar with this area, it's north of Wayne Avenue. It's off the west side of Burbank Road. And we have Holmes Boulevard that comes off and then kind of loops around, and there's that section of Caldwell Drive out there. So it's a nice kind of a cul-de-sac, well, a loop, we should say, a loop of street there. That's where that is. So again, this is budgeted. So with that, I would move for adoption.
Okay, motion to adopt by Mr. Silvestri. Is there a second?
John Ansel, second.
All right, seconded by Mr. Ansel. Any other discussion?
I was curious as to whether or not, sorry, this is Jen, obviously. I'm curious as to whether the residents are going to face an assessment, and if so, how much?
It is going to be paid for out of the water fund, right, Roger?
Correct.
Okay. So no
Yes,
assessment.
no assessments.
Okay.
Anyone else? Seeing none, would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt, Mr. Paulo?
Cavan,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Stanzik,
Yes.
Ansel.
Yes.
All right, resolution number 2020-22 passes. We now turn our attention to resolution number 2020-23. This will be presented by Mr. Bostancic, is slated for 3 readings. But before we get to Mr. Bostancic, I will ask Ms. DiPaolo if she would please read the title.
Resolution number 2020-23. Resolution declaring it necessary to extend Daisy Way from Old Airport Road to the existing Daisy Way and to determine assessments for affected property owners and declaring an emergency.
Okay, Mr. Bostancic, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. This is piece of legislation. It's pretty self-explanatory. We've seen a few of these in the past few months. We have to declare the necessity to extend Daisy Way so that the process of determining assessments to the affected property owners can begin. Property owners have been notified, and I believe all these properties are businesses or manufacturing facilities. And according to Roger, they are all in complete agreement with this project. At some point, if somebody does decide to object, then we would have to go to a set up another committee to see any objections. But right now, of the total $1 million estimated cost of the Daisy Way project, this will extend Daisy Way to Old Airport Road, which will also make a connection through all the way to Geysers Chapel. This project is going to go for $1 million, and 161,000 of it will be paid for by assessments. They would like to get everything moving on this, I would like to put this on third and final if we can.
All right, a motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Bostancic. Is there a second out there?
David
Scott Myers,
Silvestri,
second.
All right, a second by Dave Silvestri. I heard other people in the background, but my old ears heard him first. So if you would please, Ms. DiPaolo, call the roll on the motion to suspend the rules.
Bostancic,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
and Cavan.
Yes.
Okay, the rules are suspended. Do you have another motion for us, Mr. Bostancic?
Yes, I move to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Bostancic. Is there a second?
Scott Myers, second.
Second.
Scott Myers, Mr. Myers seconded. So at this point in time, now's the time for questions, and I'm sure that Mr. Kobylarski is there waiting with bated breath to answer those of us who are inquiring minds.
David
Any
Silvestri here.
questions?
Just one question, if I can.
Sure.
First of all, I thought this was a fantastic project, and to be able to do it for only $389,000 coming out of our capital fund, that's less than half. I just wanted to say hats off to whoever chased down the additional monies, not just one grant, but 2 grants in addition to the assessments. Did we have to work hard to get the county to give us the Transportation Improvement District a grant, or how did that work?
I'll jump in there if that's all right. I'll tell you, this actually, we've got to give a kudos to Mr. Joel Montgomery on this one, because I heard about this Transportation Enhancement District funding, which other counties were utilizing, but our county had never participated. And so he managed to help some of the commissioners realize that this was a pot of money out there that was available to us. And so things came together, and they formed a TID. There were 2 applications. last year for this funding, one from the county and one from the city. And the city ended up getting the nod on this with the first time for this TID money. And then Ohio Jobs and Commerce have been a great funding avenue for us. They helped with the roadway when we assisted Daisy Corporation into coming into our town. So again, they were a great help and continue to be a player for us.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Bob. And thank you, Joel.
Well, it was really a collaborative effort with WEDC and the commissioners and getting all that set up. And then when it came time to actually do the application, it took a lot more work to get the TID set up than it did to get the application done. And I would say Rittman and Orville also participated in getting this TID set up as well. And then Jonathan did a lot of the legwork on the actual application for the grant itself. So it was really a collaborative effort with a lot of people.
Well, job well done for all those involved. And now that we have the hard part done, hopefully we can tap into this more often in the future.
Yep.
Anything else? Seeing nothing further, then I would ask Mr. Paulo to please call the roll on the motion to adopt.
Stanzik,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan.
Yes.
Resolution number 2020-23 passes. We'll look at ordinance number 2020-10, which will be presented by Mr. Ansel. It is scheduled for 3 readings, but before we get to you, Mr. Ansel, I will turn to Ms. DiPaolo once again and ask her to read the title.
Ordinance number 2020-10. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an enterprise zone agreement with Certified Angus Beef, LLC, for certain tax incentives and declaring an emergency.
Take it away, Mr. Ansel.
Thank you, Mr. President. As Mayor Brenneman highlighted during his opening comments, one of Worcester's premier corporate citizens, Certified Angus Beef, is requesting a 50% abatement for 10 years through the Wayne County's Rural Enterprise Zone Program, EZ115C. The improved value of its property, they're going to make an investment between $750,000 and $1.25 million associated with the construction of a standalone 18,000 square foot print shop and warehousing facility. The project will create 6 new jobs with over $300,000 of annual payroll. This will be accomplished by relocating 6 of the existing jobs at the Wooster campus and the existing facility into the proposed building, and then creating 6 new full-time jobs to bring their full employment up to over 129 people at that facility. I'm going to give a couple of other compelling highlights. This EZ will be the 3rd request for Certified Angus Beef and their continued growth over the last 10 years in the Worcester community. And they've exceeded their projected employment levels by nearly 300%. So you talk about a company that is really generating a return on this relief. They are far exceeding their initial conservative projections. So we remain very optimistic that Certified Angus Beef will continue to grow, expand, and flourish within our community. The financial impact of this request, the current value of the parcel is $73,500. It's generating about $178 an annual tax obligation. under the 50% abatement. At the min level of about 800,000, it'll generate about $12,424 of increase, of which they'll save that equivalent amount. And if it's at the higher level, the 1.2 to 1.3 million, it can be $19,000 to $20,000 of additional tax increase to the city's revenue stream. The net gain from the abatement, certified Angus beef will be saving the $12,000 to $20,000 annually. So the summary will be $100,000 to $200,000 savings to certified Angus beef. And then the post-tax revenues will go from $22,000 to $36,000 annually. So it's forgive now, yet we gain in the first 10 years. And then thereafter, we have a very nice tax generating, property tax generating, and income tax generating entity within the city of Worcester. It's a marvelous story to be able to tell. Kudos to certified Angus beef for their vision and dedication and success. And because this EZ request is a little different than the past enterprise zones, as this has to go to the county location recertification rural EZ program that has to be approved by the county commissioners. Then it goes to the state for final approval. Even though this project is slated for third to fourth quarter of 2020, I would hope this evening that council would give a unanimous fast track endorsement to certified Angus beef to show them that we really appreciate their contribution to our community. So with that, unless there are any questions, I will motion to suspend the rules this evening. Seeing no questions, I will motion to suspend the rules and move ordinance 2020-10 to third and final reading.
All right, motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Ansel. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Warden. Lynn, would you please call the roll on the motion to suspend the rules?
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Bostancic.
Yes.
Okay, the rules are suspended. I turn to you, or figuratively turn to you, Mr. Ansel. And you
Motion
have
to
another
adopt,
motion.
Mr. President.
All right, motion to adopt by Mr. Ansel. Is there a second?
David Silvestri seconds.
Second by Mr. Silvestri.
President
Any,
Biden,
yes.
I need to recuse myself from the vote. I support this personally, and I'm a huge fan of certified Angus beef and the company, but they are a client of mine. So I'm going to recuse myself from the vote.
All right. Please note in the record there, Mr. Paulo, that Mr. Myers is recusing himself with regard to the vote on the passage. So that being said, is there anyone else has any questions? We've done these types of things before, but not exactly like in this manner. Well, seeing none, would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt, Mr. Paulo?
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Bostancic.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance number 2020-10 passes.
If I may, can I just comment, please?
Yeah, that's Brent Eicher.
Excuse me, I'm Brent Eicher with the Certified Angus Beef Company.
All right, I thought you were you were hijacking my meeting, Mr. Iker.
I certainly, Mr. President, don't intend to do that, but I did want to express on behalf of the entire Certified Angus Beef team, a word of appreciation for all of the support we've received from all of the city officials, this council, and truly the community at large. You guys have been a big part of the success that we've enjoyed, and so I just wanted to take this moment to thank you all.
Thank you.
You know, you've not only been a good business citizen, but you guys are a great ambassador for the city of Worcester because you go everywhere.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
We try to spread the good news.
Brent, I really thought I could see if I could get John to leave this on first read and get you to come back to 2 more of these meetings, but you've been very patient.
We're thrilled to have you growing in our town there, Mr. Iker.
Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
All right, thank
Likewise.
you. Appreciate it. That brings us to resolution number 2020-24. It'll be presented by Ms. Warden. And actually, we're already have entered into a contract for the state purchasing. This is so Mr. Denning can purchase salt. So just wanted to give you a heads up about that, which is why it's budgeted. But before I get to you, Ms. Warden, I'll ask Mr. Paulo to read the title.
Resolution 2020-24. A resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to enter into a contract to participate in the ODOT Cooperative Purchasing Program and declaring an emergency.
All right, Ms. Warden, the airwaves are yours.
Thank you. And I believe this is, if I read it correctly, I believe this is not budgeted. I think you said that it was, but it's actually going to be budgeted for 2021.
Oh, okay, well,
That is correct.
I had asked because it was not on 3 readings, so I'm using, I was only following orders, defense.
Oh, so we don't need 3 readings for this?
Well, if it isn't budgeted, we technically do need 3 readings, but.
Yeah, okay.
I think the idea was that we're saying that it will be budgeted by the time that it would become effective. But I mean, I guess it would become effective right away if it's an emergency. But I guess the idea is it will be budgeted because it's for
well,
2021.
we haven't passed the
The
budget.
last time we did it. Correct. That is obviously correct.
So actually, it would need 3 readings since it's not currently budgeted.
Well, here we go.
So yeah, you can move to suspend the rules, and hopefully we can get a good deal since most of the cities didn't use a lot of salt this year.
Right. Knock on wood, right?
Mhm.
Not over yet. So Public Properties Maintenance Division is looking to replenish the road salt reserves, which were slightly depleted during the most recent winter season. They'd like to purchase 2,000 tons of salt. Over the past 6 years, the city has averaged about 5,200 tons a year. And this year we've applied just under 2,000. So that gives you an idea of how little we've actually needed. I'm grateful for that figure. This item, as I said, is not budgeted. However, funding will be requested in the 2021 budget. So there's no worries there. The city was recently notified by ODOT that we can join them in their winter fill salt contract. And that's why we've got short notice for this resolution. The salt market is, as many of you already know from going through this year after year, the salt market is historically unstable. So predicting costs can be really difficult from year to year. And ODOT's bidding process brings very competitive pricing from all of the vendors. So by partnering with them for this salt contract, the city minimizes any risk of paying any exorbitant prices. So they're looking to have this contract agreement filed by April 24th. And so I'd like to move to suspend the rules and place this on 3rd and final reading.
Okay, Ms. Warden has moved to suspend the rules. Is there a second?
Kevin, I would second that.
All right, Mr. Cavan seconded it. Would you please call the roll on the motion to suspend the rules, Mr. Paul?
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Bostancic,
Yes.
and Myers.
Yes.
All right, the rules are suspended. I look to you again, Ms. Warden.
Thank you. I would like to move to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Ms. Warden. Is there a second?
Second, Mark Cavan.
Mr. Cavan has seconded. Any other discussion? It's pretty routine thing. We need salt, and if we can get it at a budget price, now's the time to get it.
I do have one question. Maybe it's for Mr. Denning. Has the state changed their policy? Is that what allows us to do what we're doing this time?
No, it's been relatively the same for the last 5 years, probably, that we've purchased through the state in the same manner. It's weird because it's so early into the fiscal year for us of predicting what we're going to do for next year. But the reason why is because the state's fiscal year ends and starts in July. So that's the reason they need to know how many tons that they're actually going to bid out so that they can budget for the next year.
Okay, I know Jen had said something about the short notice. So, okay, excellent. Thank you.
And they don't give us much notice when they do say that they're going to go advertise for bids. So they probably won't go out for bid until probably June, but they need to know how many tons so they can kind of get a bid package together.
Got it. Come jump on our train, but jump on fast, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Kirk, this is Bill. I just
Yes,
curious, but what, I can't remember offhand what we spent last year.
We spent 89.51 a ton. And I anticipate that number going down for next year, of course, because there was such little salt that was being sold or applied. So the demand's not going to be that great this year across the state. But what do I know? It could be $150 a ton.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, seeing no one else wishes to weigh in, would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt, Mr.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Bostancic,
Yes.
and Myers.
Yes.
Resolution number 2020-24 passes. Brings us to ordinance number 2020-11. This has to do with annexation. Mr. Robert Reynolds, attorney in town, has been waiting patiently in the wings. He represents the petitioners for this matter, which is the Wooster City School District. It'll be presented by Mr. Sanders. It is slated for 3 readings. Before I get to you, Mr. Sanders, I'll look to Mr. Paulo to please read the title.
Ordinance number 2020-11. An ordinance stating to the Wayne County Commissioners pursuant to revised code section 709.023, which the city of Worcester would be able to provide for a multiple parcel site known as parcels 53-00145.000, 53-00145.002, 01626.001, and 53-01626.000, are contiguous to the city of Worcester and declaring an emergency.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Paulo and Mr. Sanders. The airwaves are yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have 4 parcels at the corner of Oldman and Oak Hill Road. One parcel is on the northeast corner of that intersection, which is the house property that is on the north side of Oldman Road that was just purchased by the school. The other property is 25.345 acres that is on the south side of Oldman Road and, with Oak Hill on the west. At this point, they've asked for annexation. I would like to allow Mr. Reynolds to, if he has any specific comments to this, to comment now.
Thank you, Ms. Sanders. Just a few notes. I think the 25 acres is the total for all 4 parcels. And this can be easily overlooked. In fact, we did the first time around on the first pass on this, but the city of Worcester actually owns 2 of the parcels that form where Oldman Road is there. So the city of Worcester is actually one of the petitioners here because we're seeking to annex basically everything east of the road, east of Oak Hill there into the city. That's about it. The driving force behind this has been probably a desire to get all the safety services combined. So, we're not both for police and fire. We're dealing with one entity. Nothing against the county services, but Chief Fisher has indicated that it'd be a little easier to do, knowing that they had jurisdiction over the whole area. If you'll remember, about a dozen years ago, we had an incident where there was a young man that was target shooting on that area, in that ravine that's on the property to the southeast corner. And he caused quite a bit of stir because he did this during the school day. But for the fact that he didn't have permission from the landowner, plus I think he was a felon, so he wasn't allowed to have a weapon because of disability. But otherwise, what he was doing was perfectly legal because there's nothing wrong with target shooting out in the county, but not permitted within the city. So we'd like to get the whole area within the city. And that's what we're here for.
All right, thank you, Mr. Reynolds, for the clarification. I see no major issue with this. I see no issue with it at all. I do have a question, though. I guess I'll ask Mr. Scavelli. Are we going to have a public hearing related to this annexation?
Well, all we're doing right now is providing information as to what services we're providing. That's all this is doing currently. So no, later on, when we have to approve it, that's a different story. But right now, this is only saying what services we can provide to the Wayne County Commissioners.
Thank you for the clarification. With that, I would motion to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 20-11 on third and final reading.
Okay, Mr. Sanders has moved to suspend the rules. Is there a second?
John Ansel, second.
Seconded by Mr. Ansel. Ms. DiPaolo, would you please call the roll on the motion to suspend the rules?
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
You're muted, Jen.
Sorry, yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Bostancic,
Yes.
and Myers.
Yes.
Okay, the rules are suspended. I look to you again, Mr. Sanders.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Sanders. Is there a second?
Scott Myers, second.
Seconded by Mr. Myers. Any further questions? Seeing none, would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Bostancic,
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2020-11 passes. Our final piece of legislation, ordinance number 2020-12, looking very similar. It's will be presented by Mr. Sanders, slated for 3 readings, and Mr. Reynolds again awaits in the wings. So before I turn it over to you, Mr. Sanders, I'll look to Mr. Paulo one last time this evening to please read the title.
Ordinance number 2020-12. Relating to the Wayne County Commissioners pursuant to revised code section 709.023, the services which the city of Worcester would be able to provide for a single parcel site known as 2150 Oak Hill Road, Worcester, Ohio, parcel 53-00300.000, which is contiguous to the city of Worcester and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Mr. Sanders, I turn it over to you again.
Thank you, Mr. Bidendike. At this point, again, similar to last piece of legislation, this is just a separate parcel. It's a little further south along Oak Hill Road. It's on the west side of Oak Hill Road. And at this point, again, I'll ask you to speak on behalf of this.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. This is even though they're very close in area, this is a little bit different scenario. The previous annexation request was the traditional annexation that'll work its way through the county commissioners and then come back to the city council for action in due course. This particular one's an expedited one. And the city has already entered into an agreement with the landowners, a pre-annexation agreement to provide utilities. This area along Oak Hill, much like West Highland, is an area where when the city grew in that direction, people that were in with the existing water wells and septic weren't really interested in annexation. So typically when you're getting people in, those single family homes or home sites along those two roads is when either they're ready to build or the septic's failed. And in this particular case, this is a lot where they want to build on. And so they are looking for city services there. It is an expedited annexation, so it'll be provided that the paperwork's in order. If it's approved by the city, the commissioners will rubber stamp it more or less as long as paperwork's all back in order. And then it'll be back to before city council for the annexation decision itself.
Yeah, and if my memory serves me correct, Mr. and Mrs. Raber were there before city council when they had the pre-annexation agreement. So
I think that's right. That's before I was involved.
Yeah,
but I saw them after they already had an agreement in hand.
Yeah.
Yes,
they came that evening when we went to vote on allowing the mayor to enter into an agreement for pre-annexation of that property. Mr. Silvestri, you wanted to weigh in on something?
Oh, I was just going to confirm, yes, at our March 16th meeting, I had introduced legislation for the pre-annexation agreement for this property.
Yeah, I know it seems like a lifetime ago, but I was glad my memory was same as yours, and you're a much younger man than I am. So, all right, anything else? I think we had already been headed in that vein to annex that property. I don't see anything that has changed since that time. So if no one else has anything else to say about that, I guess we're ready to vote on the motion to adopt.
Well,
we need to suspend first, right?
Okay. Okay. I lost track. It's hard to, this is not an easy process. And it's got.
Well, I'm not right next to you to elbow you. That's what the problem is.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
right.
it can't be easy for Mr. Scavelli, who must think he's a news director there in his little control booth there, or in his little alcove on the attic. So, all right, Mr. Reynolds, Mr. Sanders, do you have a motion for us?
Motion to adopt. Or motion.
How about suspend?
Yeah, motion to suspend. I'll take that, Mr. Sanders. I'm sorry I confused you. So that Mr. Sanders moved to suspend the rules. Is there a second?
Second,
Second by Ms. Warden. Please call the roll on the motion to suspend the rules, Mr. Paulo.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Bastancik,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
and Sanders.
I didn't hear you, Mr. Sanders, but I assume you voted to suspend the rules.
I did.
Okay,
Okay. That being that the rules are suspended, do you have another motion for us, sir?
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Sanders. Is there a second?
David Silvestri seconds.
All right, seconded by Mr. Silvestri. Any further discussion? Seeing none, would you please call the roll to adopt?
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Bastancik,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
and Sanders.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance number 2020-12 passes. That brings us an end to our legislative session, moves us to miscellaneous. And I just want to thank all the medical providers who have stood in the front line during this pandemic. Many thanks, and I wish them that they stay healthy and well. Appreciate all our first responders because they're out there every day with people. And I'd like to thank the mail carriers because they're kind of the unsung heroes who are there delivering to everyone and their brother out there and sister. And that's their job, and they do it. And I know my mail service hasn't been interrupted. So thank you one and all, and thank the city workers who are out there doing the jobs that they were hired, and we have not really seen any interruption of services. In fact, if there is one positive, is sure's got to make it easier paving the roads with so little traffic. So that's what I have to say. We'll just start going down, starting with First Ward, Mr. Cavan.
Well, thank you, President Whitendike. I too would like to commend all first responders, no matter who. There's plenty of them, and that's what's making the wheels turn for everyone at this moment. So I continue to hold them in very high regard, and hopefully this doesn't last as long as we think it might. Hopefully it'll be over soon. But kudos to everyone out there on the front lines. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Warren.
Thank you, President Bitendike. I, again, would like to echo your sentiments and thank everybody for being on the front line, working in our hospitals and city services, the police, the fire, everyone like that. And also, I'd like to thank everyone for going out of their way. I know it's really hard to isolate yourselves, but to stay home, you're really making a difference. And we can see it. We can see that, you know, Governor DeWine and Dr. Acton's advice for everyone to stay home and flatten the curve is working. And I'm really happy to be an Ohioan and to see that we're all following the rules like we should be. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Warden. Mr. Silvestri.
Yes, I know all of us have been impacted by this significantly. The number of events that have been canceled is really staggering. I think I read in the newspaper just today, the Boston Marathon, after 123 consecutive years, is not going to be held this summer. And there's a lot of disappointment, a lot of letdown, but we can pull through this. And I want to thank Bob and the leadership team in our city for their preparations and for working so hard, not just to keep our city services uninterrupted, but I think they're really going above and beyond with the communications. I appreciate the extra updates. from the city admin team. So job well done, and we'll pull through this. Thanks.
Okay. Mr. Myers.
Thank you, President Dyke. I just want to say thanks to Brett Eicher from Certified Angus Beef for attending our virtual meeting, and Bob Reynolds as well. They both added some clarity to some of the ordinances that we needed to work on tonight, and I was grateful for them for coming. There are a number of restaurants and things still open in downtown, so I want to encourage those of you who can to support them. Last night I was able to get burgers down at City Square Steakhouse. It was great. You call them and then they kind of bring it out and hand it to you in the car. So it's curbside. And I know that TJ's is reopening their restaurant for delivery and takeout starting tomorrow. They'll be doing that 3 days a week, but there's a number of restaurants downtown. I'd like everybody to try to remember them. I know that you're trying to stay socially distant, but you cannot get the virus from the food. So please continue to support our downtown.
Okay. Mr. Bostancic.
Oh, thank you very much. I just wanted to touch on something that we were talking about upstairs in City Hall today. As to, I don't know if the city has it on the website or not, but there's areas where we can make sure that if people have extra food, we can help supply the food pantries in Worcester or Wayne County. I don't think there's may not be a lot of people that would know where to go, but I know I've seen the stories on the news of thousands of cars lined up to receive food. And I think if there's some way we can check on that and make sure that they have everything they need, and perhaps build out a citywide notice of some sort and where to take the food. If I know a couple of churches we were talking earlier provide meals for takeout now. And I guess this is sort of a question to the mayor that we were talking about earlier today, is if something could be put up on the website, or maybe it already is and I haven't seen it, but some way to get that information out to the people.
Sure. Well, we'll try to put something out on the website if we don't have something there. We tweak that almost daily as far as all of these. So I'm not exactly sure what is up currently right now. Just as a general rule of thumb, the Salvation Army has been one of our best partners in providing shelter space in our community. So we would definitely tip our hats to Madeline Dwyer and the folks at the Salvation Army for all of their assistance. And I know that they provide food and those kind of sheltering spaces for the homeless and the needy. So the Wooster Hope Center on the south side of town does a lot of food distribution. So that those folks seem to be a good entity for helping that happen too. So both of those.
Thank you. It would be nice, I think, if we could put something, if it's not already up there, maybe some sort of maybe phone number, or put up the addresses and stuff like that. Because I was just amazed at all the people that in this country, even with the help that they're getting now, is food shortages, whole families lining up. So I don't know what it's been like in Wayne County, but I think that'd be something to watch for.
We will do that, Mr. Bostancic.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, along those lines, Bob and Bill, if people are listening to this, and you can also encourage them, call the United Way. They're coordinating people's requests for a service or any aid or assistance. They're forwarding those requests and coordinating that with our local agencies. They could also coordinate if you say, hey, I've got some food I'd like to deliver. They might be able to hook you up and put you in contact with the people with the most need. Their phone number is 330-264-5576. I think you can also dial 211, their Connect line, and get help that way. So they've been in the coordinating role since this started, and they're currently still manning the phones and trying to make those connections for people.
Thank you.
Yep, good suggestion, Mr. Myers. Thank you.
And last word to you, Mr. Ansel.
Has Mr. Sanders said anything?
Oh, sorry, I jumped over you, Mr. Sanders. I have you written down, and I don't know why I just jumped over you. So, Mr. Sanders.
I have nothing to add to what's already been said, other than a sincere those that put themselves in front of this to help our community.
Worthy words. And now, Mr. Ansel, last word. And hey, you're beyond your 3 weeks, aren't you, pal?
Yes, I am.
I've never seen your hair that long.
I too echo the sentiments of gratitude and appreciation for our dedicated first responders, the city staff and workers, and our healthcare staff at the Wooster Community Hospital. They really went above and beyond in this, time of crisis and concern, and we're very fortunate to have their dedication and commitment to service. I would also like to highlight a personal note of superlative performance of the maternity ward at the Wooster Community Hospital, specifically the birthing staff. My son John and his wife Drew had their second baby last Friday in the mid of COVID-19, and it was a very positive and warming experience. It was really, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, and that's very critical in that time of need going through birth. And it was a superlative performance. And I just want to personally thank the staff of the maternity ward there at the Wooster Community Hospital. It's nice to see some level of normalcy in daily life. And one thing that you just really can't stop is when you're going to have a baby. So it was done extremely well. She was released on Friday, and my granddaughter Elsie now has a new sister, Lillian Rose. So thank you, Worcester Community Hospital. And I want to close by thanking John Scavelli and the administration for this technical interface. John, I know you've worked diligently and hard to coordinate this, to trial run this, and it went off better than anticipated. So congratulations and well done. It's certainly something that we don't want, but a big round of applause to Mr. Scavelli and the technical team. So John, you're not only a heck of an attorney, you're pretty techno savvy too. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And other than that, I'll go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I'm glad it went as well as it did likewise. And as much as it was unique, I'm hoping that maybe the next time I actually get to see all my colleagues and friends in person. This social distancing is getting to be old. It works, I get it, but there's nothing like the real person in person.
Ditto that. With that, I would motion to adjourn.
Oh, I have a quick question. John, did we get any comments from the audience or questions?
We had Shannon Waller just told me she was watching. So she had no comment to give to you, but she did let me know she was watching. So I asked people to do that. So thank you to Shannon. We have 13 watching currently. We went back and forth between about 19 and 20.
Well, appreciate those that watched it, and I appreciate everyone who made this possible, and I appreciate you all. I wish you good health and good cheer, and actually hope to physically see your smiling faces on the 4th of May. So, and
I have a quick question before we adjourn, Mr. Dyke. Hello? I have a quick question. Thank you. I just want to ask Joel while I've got him there. Joel, do you know when Waste Management is planning to resume picking up extra trash items? Someone just sent me a message to ask.
No, we do not. Their notice that they sent us simply said, whenever they are able to, based on, restrictions and staffing that they're putting in place to try to keep their workforce. Now, that being said, we are performing some limited pickup. If they can notify us at City Hall, we'll make some arrangements for that.
And did I see we're going to be having a new trash hauler here in July?
That is correct. When we bid that out, Kimball was the low bidder, so we'll have a new
So my guess is Waste Management's not going to be too anxious to do much of anything between now and then. Just saying,
Right.
you don't have to answer that. I withdraw my
assumed, but
question, Your Honor.
I wanted to hear it from Joel.
Well, I assume you seconded the motion to adjourn there, Ms. Warren.
I did, yeah. Glad you
Okay,
caught that.
all in favor, please say aye.
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 We're adjourned. Love you all. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I can't wait to see you all again in person.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.